The Montauk Monster. Now, in the summer of 2008, a very grotesque carcass washed ashore on the beaches of Montauk, New York, and honestly, people didn't know whether they should scream, laugh, cry, run away, call a priest, a scientist. They had no idea. I mean, this creature had the body of like a dog, but also the beak like mouth of a bird. It was very strange, and it almost had human-like fingers. Now, locals swore it was, the product of experiments at, this nearby Plum Island Animal Disease Center, and that's actually a government facility which is, already shrouded in a lot of secrecy. Now, for days, this carcass was kind of quietly taken away and locked up. It fueled a lot of rumors of a government cover-up. Some biologists insisted it was just a very badly decomposed raccoon, but the elongated skull, the strange teeth, the leathery skin, it didn't quite add up. It didn't even look like a raccoon, let's be honest. I mean, witnesses described how the creature's body kind of vanished almost completely overnight, and it was just kind of taken away by unknown officials. Now, what made this more disturbing is that Plum Island has or had a reputation for testing on livestock diseases and had been accused in the past many times of genetic experiments during the Cold War. So yeah, when the Montauk Monster was suddenly kind of locked away from the public view and never seen again, it only kind of deepened that suspicion that this wasn't a normal animal at all. It was something maybe that should have never existed in the first place. But I don't know. What do you guys think it is? The Globster. This is 40 feet of mystery. Now, along the coast of Los Meros in Chile, hopefully I said that right, a couple found a gelatinous mass washed up on the sand. It was about 40 feet long, 20 feet wide, and looked like a giant gray alien. It had no bones, no visible mouth or eyes, and its rubbery texture made it look like the skin of some unknown sea creature. Now, scientists were baffled. I mean, news outlets around the world ran headlines calling it the Chilean sea monster. I mean, at first, many believed it was just like a massive octopus or squid. I mean, something previously undiscovered from the deep trenches off Chile's coast. Its surface was covered in a thick membrane that looked organic, but not like any fish or whale skin known to science. It didn't even rot the way deceased animals usually rot and go. I mean, it just kind of sat there, like heavy and silent, as if it had been designed to survive the crushing depths. Now, when marine biologists took samples, what they found only added to this mystery. It didn't have identifiable DNA from any known shark or whale, but later, after deeper testing, the horrifying truth came out. It was actually whale blubber. Womp womp. A massive chunk of decomposed sperm whale that had broken away from a carcass and floated for miles before washing ashore. But here's the strange part. This globster didn't just look like an octopus. It had what looked like tentacles. The decomposition process had kind of warped the tissue into very long, trailing shapes that looked like arms. I mean, even scientists admitted it was one of the strangest carcasses like they had ever examined ever. Now, the ocean had literally reshaped a whale's body into something unrecognizable, a biological illusion of a monster. Now, it's a very chilling reminder that in the deep sea, where pressure, bacteria, and darkness sculpt everything, even a deceased animal can become something truly nightmarish. The giant squid that shattered records. A giant squid alive and fully intact. It had surfaced, something scientists had dreamed of witnessing for over a century. It was more than 13 feet long, its arms coiling and uncoiling like cables of muscle, its skin pulsed red and white, and it swam through shallow water, brushing up against boats and docks, so you get the image, right? I mean, it seemed lost, confused, as though the deep sea creature had surfaced by mistake. Divers entered the water, bravely enough, cameras rolling, and for a few minutes, they captured one of the most haunting encounters in marine history. I mean, the giant squid moved very gracefully, its tentacles reaching toward the divers as if it was curious, but everyone there could actually feel the power beneath the calm. Its eyes, as large as a human head, darted between them. I mean, for a moment, it was like staring into something truly alien, almost like me, looking into a mirror sometimes. These creatures usually live thousands of feet below the surface in pitch black waters where light cannot reach. I mean, they are rarely seen alive because they can't survive long enough near the surface. I mean, it's believed that this one was maybe injured, maybe sick, rising from the deep before, passing away shortly after. Scientists rushed to collect the remains for the study, calling it literally a once-in-a-lifetime sighting. Now, for years, the giant squid was dismissed as a sailor's myth, like the Kraken, a creature of legend that drags ships to their dooms, yada yada, you already know. But standing there face to face with this massive real-life, creature creature, there was no denying it anymore. The Kraken was real. It just lived too deep for most of us to ever see it. The massive oarfish that warned of disaster. Now, off the coast of California, marine biologists stumbled upon something that looked more like mythology than reality. An 18-foot-long oarfish, kind of shimmering silver, lying lifeless on the sand. Its body was very long, serpentine, and almost translucent with like a ribbon-like fin, kind of like the length of its spine. Now, most humans will never, ever see an oarfish in their lifetime. I haven't, because they usually live thousands of feet below the surface where sunlight just cannot penetrate. Now, local folklore in Japan calls these creatures Ryugu no Tsukai, hopefully I'm saying that right, correct me if I'm wrong, or messengers from the sea god's palace, which, believed to appear before earthquakes or tsunamis. So when this one washed up, people of course panicked. A week later, another oarfish appeared just miles away. That's weird. And months after that, the Pacific Rim was rocked by several undersea tremors. Now, science says it's a coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence, though, right? But witnessing a creature like this on a beach feels like stepping into a warning from another world, like another dimension. Marine experts say oarfish sometimes surface due to sickness or disorientation. Still, the eerie timing, the unnatural size, and the snake-like body made this oarfish one of the most haunting deep sea sightings ever captured on land. It looked alive, like it had risen from the abyss to deliver a message we may never fully understand. The Dinagat Island white-haired giant. Now, in 2017, residents of this island in the Philippines discovered another monstrosity washed ashore. Now, a 20-foot-long white-haired carcass that resembled a prehistoric creature more than a whale. Its bloated body was pale and swollen, covered in thick matted fibers that looked kind of like fur, not skin. Its eyes were, unrecognizable, and the head had been partially destroyed by scavengers, leaving a very ghostly shape. Locals panicked, of course, calling it just a sea monster and whispering about, omens and, kind of other things. Now, scientists identified it as just a decomposed whale, but that didn't make it any less horrifying. The combination of its size, hair-like fibers, and the timing just after a magnitude 6.7 earthquake made people believe it really was a message from the deep. Photos of the carcass went viral worldwide. Social media dubbed it the White Sea Monster of Dinagat, and the story reignited fascination with hairy lobsters. So next time you walk along a quiet beach and see something strange half buried in sand, think twice, probably leave it alone would be my suggestion. The ocean has a history of delivering creatures that seem almost too big, too alien, too haunting to be real, but as these stories prove, reality is sometimes far stranger, far scarier than fiction. So let me know which deep sea creature would make you swim like Mike Phelps, out of that water. Let me know. I'm your host, Ashley. I'll see you later.